Hello, forging friends. I'm back. Finally, it's been some time, but I have returned fresh off of the Keyforge Celebration 2022. Really fun event. I had an amazing time. I went with my local Keyforge community. Shout out to the Evansville Keyforge group. Sean, Barb, Kelly, Sparky, and Howard. Really fun time with all of them. And I got to meet some really cool people, some YouTubers. I got to meet Ember Meaties. Great guy. I played him, I think, in one of the tournaments. I got to meet Justin Liza from Tabletop Royale. He was also one of my opponents in a tournament there. And I got to meet Big Z and the Wookiee from the Archon's Corner podcast. Highly recommend listening to them if you're interested in Keyforge. Yeah, the event itself was really cool. I entered the Alliance Sealed tournament, and I also entered the Alliance Archon tournament. And I went 3 wins, 2 losses in the Alliance Sealed, and I went 1 win, 2 losses in the Alliance Archon. I might show my decks from those in a later video, but yeah, the competition was super fierce, and I'm glad that I did as well as I did. I think I'm glad to have done so, considering I didn't really practice or anything like that. But anyway, I as you can see here, I have some of the Winds of Exchange decks from the event. I've opened quite a few, but these 6 are still sealed, except for this one, because full disclosure, I tried to film this a minute ago and it didn't work out. So this one's already open. I've seen it, but I'm gonna go over it again, and I'll show you what I got. It's really cool, and because I think it's a good this particular deck seems to be a really good representation of how Winds of Exchange is kind of changing up certain things. So we've got Moth, Alicia Quarter Aberration, and it's got a token creature with Saurians, Mars, and the new house, Equidon. So this is a great way. We can see how Mars looks now that they've returned. We can see the new house. And I really like this style because it shows you, for one thing, what house the token creature is in, and you can still see the 3 houses here. So, that's kind of a neat new style. So we'll drop the Archon card down, and we'll have a look. So here we've got the token creature. Right there you can see it says token now. And it is the Scholar. After Reap, draw 1 card. I had an opponent in one of my tournaments use this to draw almost his entire deck. He had like at least 8 cards at the end of each of his turns. So this is a really powerful one if you can get a lot out and keep them out. We've got Recruit. Right away, make a token creature. If you exalted a friendly creature this turn, archive Recruit. So every house now has a card like this. I think every house does, where you make a token creature, and then this is archived based on some criteria. So for Saurians, it's all about exalting somebody. So very cool. Good to see that. We've got Phalanx Strike. Amber, when you play it, choose a creature, deal 1 damage to it for each friendly creature. You may exalt a friendly creature to repeat the preceding effect. Very nice to see that. Good board control. New card. We got Longsword Lector. He's got play after Reap. You may exalt him. If you do, make a token creature. So we've got exalting and we've got making a token creature. So that would work super well. Both of these cards actually, both exalt. So they all work really well with Recruit. So that's good to see. Good to see some quick exalting and more token generation. And we've got a second one of him. Faust the Great, classic card. Increases my opponent's keys cost for 1 for every friendly creature with Amber on it. Good deal. And you can exalt him when you play him. 4 power. Nice. Arm the Plebeians. Amber, when you play it, make a token creature, ward it. Great card just to get one out there and keep it protected at least a little bit. We've got Akia Lone Hero. 6 power, 1 armor. Omni, capture 1 Amber if there are more enemy creatures than friendly creatures. So this is an interesting one because, you generally don't want to be lower on creatures than your opponent, but I guess if you are, you can always just capture an Amber. So it's good in certain situations. I think I had a deck with it in my Alliance Sealed. I had a deck with it, and I didn't get to use it very often because that deck had a lot of creatures in it. So we've got a second one with a damage pip, which is nice, and we've got a third one. Inspiring Oration. It is a action card with an Amber pip and a draw pip. Exalt a friendly creature. Make a token creature for each Amber on that creature. So you can really see you can make a lot of token creatures in one turn with this. You know, you could Phalanx Strike, you could Exalt Faust the Great. Yeah. So there's a lot of ways probably to get a huge amount of tokens out of this, and you get to draw a card with this particular one too. We've got Imperator Drusilla. Play, destroy another friendly creature. Where there are more enemy creatures than friendly creatures, he gains Splash Attack 4, which is a new ability. Whenever a creature attacks, the neighbors of that attack target would take 4 damage here. Splash Attack 4. So that's really powerful. That will do a lot of damage. You run it into something elusive, deal a bunch of damage. But this is, again, another creature that requires there to be more enemies than friendlies. So this Saurian seems to be, you know, not wanting to have a huge amount of board presence right now. We'll see. Ambrosia Outpost. So I think every house has an Outpost card. This one gives you an Amber Pip when you play it, and puts a friendly creature, as an action, it puts a friendly creature on the bottom of its owner's deck, and if you do, move 1 from a friendly creature to your pool. So it's similar to an artifact we had before, I think in a previous set, but in this one you get to recur a card, a creature, from your board back to your deck. So if you have a token that is actually like a card that you really want, you know, on the back of it, then you can put it back in your deck and get it back later. So, you know, it's got some utility. I like it. On to Mars. Let's see what Mars is doing now. We've got Xanthix Harvester. You know, hard to use, but when he does pop off, he can generate a lot of amber. Can get 1 extra amber for reaping with him. Mark II Generator. This one actually kind of shows off what I like about the new Mars. So it comes into play ready and makes a token creature. So Mars seems to be more about, you know, having, you know, maybe not creatures with the highest power all the time, but the creatures they do have swarm quite a bit, right? They can swarm the board with a lot of creatures. They all have kind of annoying abilities. And you know, this is a good example of that. So I like that style for Mars. I think that really suits them a lot better. We've got Ironix Vatminder. Play, destroyed, make a token creature. All right, very cool. Lots of token generation here so far. We've got Genetic Blast. We've got an Amber Pip on it and an Enhanced Amber Pip on it. Play, deal 2 damage to a creature and each other creature with the same name as that creature. So this is a great one for destroying opposing token creatures. If they have, you know, no armor, I guess, you would be able to maybe take out a whole bunch of 1-power creatures. If my opponent also happened to have a Scholar and they had a whole bunch on the board, it would just destroy all of them at once. So that's really, really nice to see. And we have a second one of those. We have an Ammonia Clouds with 3 damage to each creature and an extra enhanced Amber Pip. So really, really good to see that. Good board control. I mean, a lot of my guys are small though, so it might not be it might not be great. We'll see. Suspended Animation. It is an action card that enhances 2 damage pips. Put a damaged creature into your archives. If it leaves your archives, put it into its owner's hand instead. So with especially a lot of those damage pips we have, we could damage something and then go ahead and put it into the archives if it's something really annoying, you know, like a giant creature or something. Just get it off the board really quickly. So I like to see that. And it doesn't seem like we have any archiving in this deck, so we wouldn't really have to worry about messing up our archives. Space Invaders. Reveal any number of creatures from your hand. Put each creature revealed this way into play face down as a token creature. Really nice. Really like to see that. Like, if, you know, I have some creatures in my hand that I don't feel like I want to play in the next couple turns, I can go ahead and build up my board right away with a bunch of token creatures. Good to see. Good to see. Nizik Resonator. Love to see him. For each neighbor he has, your opponent's keys cost +2. Good to get opponents off of check, for sure. And here's Ether Spider. Great to see Ether Spider back. Deals no damage when fighting, and each amber that would be added to your opponent's pool is captured by Ether Spider instead. Really killer play. You know, mid to late game, your opponent's trying to build up amber for their 2nd to 3rd key. Really keep them off of it, and it's sticky because it has so much power. So, you know, this can be a real big swing, really big swing play. Love to see it. Destroy them all. Destroy an artifact, a creature, and an upgrade. Good board control. Good board control. Got the rare Yixlik Stim Rager. After fight, it's got 4 power, 2 armor, and after fight, deal 2 damage to a creature and move it to either flank of its controller's battle line. Could be useful, get around some taunts or some other effects. Good to see. On to Equidon, and I will apologize in advance if I mispronounce any of these names because some of them are a little bit weird. But we have the Steward Su Uzane, who has enhanced damage pip on her, and she enhances 2 ambers and a drop pip. Good to see enhancements. We have a second one of her. We've got the Shrewd Investor, which is a 4 power elusive creature, and when you play him, your opponent gains 1 amber and you capture 4. So it's like charrette, but you're giving your opponent 1 more potential amber. So that's the style of the Equidon cards. It's usually kind of a trade-off. They have some effects like shadows, but not so much like straight up one-sided things. There's generally a trade-off for every positive effect. So that's cool to see. We have Higher On with a draw pip. Make a token creature, and if there are a combined total of 6 amber or more between both players' pools, archive it. So that's like that other card we saw early on in Saurians that has a stipulation for archiving it. But yeah, we have so much token generation in this deck. Love to see it. Belligerent Guard, who looks like he belongs in Brobnar, but he is in Equidon. 8 power, and he enters play ready, but your opponent draws a card. So there's the trade-off there too. He can come into play and he can reap, or he can fight. He can take care of anything. He's very versatile. Love to see versatile creatures like that. And we have a second one with a Amber Pip, which is nice. We've got the artifact Uncommon Currency. Swap control of uncommon currency and an enemy artifact. So good to take your opponent's strong artifacts. Good to keep them off of something like an Epic Quest or an Pen Seed, depending on what set you're playing against. So yeah, I like it. We've got Out Negotiate with an Amber Pip. Choose a card in your opponent's discard pile. Steal one amber equal to the number of amber bonus icons on that card, and put that card on the bottom of its owner's deck. So again, kind of a trade-off. You're stealing amber, but you're also giving them back that card that got them the amber. So they're going to get that back, depending on how big their deck is, maybe next turn. But late game, this could potentially be enough of a swing to put you back on top. Market Crash. Destroy each non-token creature, gain 2 chains. Big board wipe. Very nice to see, at least 1. We got 2 though. More chains. We'll see if we need 2. Well, nice. Token of Appreciation. Make a token creature, forge a key at +7 current cost, reduced by 1 amber for each friendly token creature. Wow. So I think this is going to be really good in this deck because, as you could probably see, this deck makes so many token creatures that, that this could probably be pulled off pretty easily mid to late game because it's like 13 amber for a key. And this deck, especially with that one Mars card that lets you make your hand creatures into tokens, could potentially be, not that much of a more expensive key. So yeah, I think this deck could actually pull this off pretty well. Nice to see. Last card, we have the rare Talent Scout. Amber, when you play him, he may be used as if he would belong to the active house. And when you play him, you look at your opponent's hand and play a creature from it as if it were yours. Then your opponent takes Talent Scout. So yeah, really, really cool. You can just play your opponent's creature and then just get a 2-power Omni. So depending on what you take, this could be really, really nice. Potentially disrupting their entire combo. So really good to see that. All right, I think that's a really cool deck. Let's do a check to see how much amber we have on the cards here. And apologies if I miss a card here. They're all new, so I'll have to read them a little bit. So we got 1. I'll say 2, 3. 4. We'll count the other one. We'll count one of these 2 because they can come into play ready. So we'll say 5 for both of them. 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 11. 12. 13. 13 amber. Pretty good. 2 keys just on the cards themselves. Like to see that. All right, let's look at how many creatures are in here. And I might not count all of the token generators too. I'm just going to see how many pure creatures we have. And then, we'll add up the token generators too on top of that. So let's see what we got. We have 1. I'll count him because he replaces himself with a creature from your opponent's hand. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. 18 creatures, pretty good. I think there are some decks now that have upwards of like 22 creatures, but I think 18 is pretty solid overall. I think it's got a decent amount of creatures, so like to see that. Let's actually look at how many token generators we have here. So this one makes 1, so that's 1. 2. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 token generators, and some of them make multiple token creatures. So 18 creatures, 8 token generators. So that's, you know, one might argue that's the equivalent of like 26 creatures in this deck, which is kind of insane to think about. But at the same time, you're losing cards. So like that's the trade-off, right? You're making a token creature from the top card of your deck, and whatever that card is, if it's useful, you don't get access to it until that token is cycled back into your deck somehow. So, but whether it be from shuffling your discard pile or using that one artifact that puts it back on the bottom. So, you know, that's something to think about. But I really like this. I think that's super cool. So yeah, I think I like it a lot. I'll give it a try. But I have 5 decks left. I might open up some more in the future. But for now, I just wanted to say hello again. And yeah, I'll try to get back on a regular schedule. Thanks for watching. Appreciate it. Bye-bye.